Today is August 15th, 2025. When people realize they're playing you for the fools you are, and when you start putting a common sense in your head, in your head, in your head, maybe you won't be somebody's doofus. Now, I want you to think about this. Stop being somebody's doofus and damn fool. These people are nothing but con men. These rapists. Do you know how mad it makes me when people say around me that that attorney's office said as if she didn't know what was going on, as if she didn't know those men weren't raping her. They thought she liked it. Since when does women like to be raped? If I knew what was going on, I would have called the police. If my doctor would have put it together, they would have called the police by federal law. Hmm? And if it was consensual, why on earth did you have to drug me? And being beat until you damaged my intestines and I have large pouching. Beat with internal injury, raped by strangers I've never met. You were human trafficking me under drugs. It wasn't consensual, it was rape. And if I knew what was going on and it wasn't the dirty well water killing me, I would have called the cops. That attorney's office cannot be the local human traffickers of raping women in their own home and drugging them up for guys to go in and rape. Running drug scams on people. See, that's where these people are so dumb and fucking dumb that go along with this. They don't have a brain cell in their head. A brain cell. A brain cell. And that's where people that are con men prey on stupid people. They prey on them. Because why? They can get away with stuff. They can have ignorant people help out. It's just like that idiot in my old apartment. We thought if Melissa just showed up and said something about her, the police would take her new car. It's a nice car. It's a really nice car. And then she could drive it and the police would make her make the payments. See, they made it up in their mind that they would steal from me and give to her. She's an electrical design engineer. They make $95,000 to $145,000. She's been one for over 10 years, so she probably makes $145,000. And she gets child support from my son John. He makes big money too. Gets like $30,000. She makes $145,000 to $175,000. She could afford 3 of my cars. She wouldn't need to steal. See, that's where, during the case, that occult thought they got rid of that agent. They thought they fooled him. Like he's the biggest doofus in the world. Remember, Melissa's Church, June 7th, 23. FBI agent John fell for the stun and taste before. Oh, come on now. That FBI agent fell for it. Screaming out in Walmart 62, mocking him. They're the ones that fooled him. They thought they fooled him, and they thought he left. Made a public mockery of him and sold videos of it. Okay? See, I called the FBI, where Carl's friend Leah said that guy in my old apartment is running around town. Tells people she hurts children. The police won't say a word to her. I told people to yell stuff at me and to do things to me. Trying to get people to hurt me. He's lying to everyone. Now, put a common sense in your brain. Just a little pea brain common sense. If you actually hurt a child, they'd rush you so fast it wasn't even funny. They would rush you so fast it's not even funny. Right? Right. See, they thought they got rid of that agent. They thought they made a doofus out of him. He left. He ain't go anywhere. He opened a real case with statements. Court order. Police surveillance. And guess what? They have the two guys that said they work for the drug lord. Announced it. Walk around laughing. Walmart 62. Melissa's going to help out in this. You're kidding. No, I talked to her. She's going to have the kids make up stuff for us to help us get away with this. You're kidding. They leaned over and started laughing. Whispering what they were going to make up. In front of the police and FBI. She's working with the Florida drug cartel. They got her. And because I called the FBI, real court order, real protected custody, they caught Melissa friends with Auntie Jo. Her telling the kids to lie. And in a legally bugged house on Thanksgiving of 18. For the house wasn't meant for Grandma. It was meant for Auntie Jo and Papa. Grandma needs to get out. Where I go up and I'm thinking I have to die first, Shell. Who the hell Shell? Go up to John, what's going on? And he's like, I don't know, Mom. I told Melissa you're going to be moving out, going through a divorce. She'll just have the kids make up something. But don't worry about it. Nobody could ever say anything bad about you. It'd just be made up because of the divorce. And then I told him you're moving out. Shouldn't have said. He said, she'll probably have your church people make up something too, but don't worry about it. Nobody can say anything bad about you. Just be made up because of the divorce and you're going to be moving out. I said you shouldn't have said anything until it happened. But I did. And since nobody can say anything bad about you, don't worry about it. Excuse me. Well, in the legally bugged house in the basement to Flora, they told her they were making everything up. And they were games of pretend, giggling, sick shit. Okay? I went to Dave to clarify everything. I said, Dave, I have never hurt anyone. He said, Karen, you're good. We talked about Melissa going to have the kids to lie. And he said, that'd be really crappy. He said, she needs to stay out of this. I thought, dear God, she needs to stay out of this. He's trying to kill me and threatening to kill everyone. And we go over how I hadn't even been around anybody for a year. And not by myself. And for only like 5 minutes out of the whole year. And not alone. And he verifies it. And I said, Dave, I've never hurt anyone. He said, Karen, you're good to the kids. You're good to the grandkids. You would never hurt anyone. You're good to everyone, no matter who it is. He defended me because I expected him to. Well, the police and the FBI, because these people already sold the login, have a huddle in the front of Walmart 62 after that. Why are they having those kids make all that shit up? Oh, they're just trying to scare her into giving up the house. That's it. We interviewed her whole family. They spoke highly of her. Other ones talking, Melissa's so stupid. She made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid. She didn't check where you were. The FBI called her stupid. Trying this bitch move. Okay? Officer Mark was talking to some of the guys. He said, Melissa could go to jail for this, for involving herself. I'd hate to arrest her. Her kids are little. He said, why don't we just write it up? Her and the kids were showing off for Dave's new girlfriend. So we don't have to arrest her. And then they were wrote up as documented me games of pretend. Okay? Documented me jokes. Other investigators were talking. It was sick. They were sitting around laughing, making all that stuff up behind her back. Karen's risking her life to get information on these people. She's almost died. And her family's sitting around making up stuff behind her back. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. And they'll call them out. They have called her out for lying in Walmart 62, Lyons, Akron. In 21, they were even, because they sold the login, they were talking about that girl lying in other states. Okay? My one client, he said, who's that crazy Melissa? They all talk about lying everywhere we go. I said, my ex daughter-in-law friends with ex's girlfriend had the kids make up some mean games of pretend on Thanksgiving of 18 in front of the police. He said, is she crazy? I said, yes. Known as Melissa's lies. Nobody went to the hospital. There's no pictures of injuries. There's no police report. The police were already there in an FBI case. And they've already called her out. Even the Stark County Sheriff's in May of 21, where they were having some guy named Kurt pay for the harassment. And he found out those kids were lying. And that he was furious, they said. Matter of fact, people, I listen around me, if he finds out they're trying to fool someone, he'll tell everybody to stay out of it. They tape him. And tape my whole family defending me. And these people taped saying they made everything up on me. They photoshopped everything and drugged everything. And tells everybody to stay out of it. Stark County Sheriffs in May of 21 were laughing if Kurt just found out those kids were lying in his law. Now, I want you to think with the FBI case. Okay? Before the FBI, they hadn't been over since the 4th of July. Both Jen and Danny, or Jen and Dave, and even Daniel in a legally bought car verified that on the 4th of July, not only were they an hour late, John said they had stopped at a park. He had lost track of time. They had several stops. We had already ate. I had did up like an hour's worth of dishes. I was serving coffee to everyone. He comes in, and I just put all the food away. I get it back out, warm it up maybe 10, 20 seconds, set it on the table for him. They took 2 bites, and they ran to the basement. Our basement, we had a split level. You go 8 steps up to the living room, kitchen area, or go 8 steps down to the family room. Family room also had a full bathroom, a laundry room. The puppies had a sectional couch and a TV. Okay? They ran to the basement. I put everything back in the refrigerator, grabbed some bottled water, and Jen and I walk outside with Dave, John, Noah, Gabe. And Jen and I sit on the front porch. You're laughing and giggling. They were having pillow fights. And they weren't there 45 minutes, and they were in the basement. We got too warm. We went back inside, went to dish up dessert. Before we could sit down, Dave came in, John left. I said he left. He didn't say goodbye. He said he left through the basement. He was in a hurry. He was just stopping by for everybody to see the house. I didn't see him again until the FBI was there. I seen him 2 minutes at the table. Now I want you to think, before that, after we closed on our house, 3 or 4 days later, we had went and got a load at Danny's, went down to get curtains for the basement, and they're inside Maslin Walmart. They come running at us, Grandma Papa, what you doing here? Buying curtains, pass each other in time. Okay? Inside Walmart. A moment. Okay? Had a long drive home. That's right after that I almost got carjacked. Dave took off. Okay, before that. Now, in my video, I had said we went to drop off John's stuff in March, but we put the house up for sale in March. We closed in May, and they kept changing the dates of the closings of the houses. And because they kept changing the closing dates and they wanted to move in as soon as we closed, I was looking at the different options of getting all my stuff out there. So I found a cheap storage unit in Green and I started loading all my house into it. I started putting stuff at Danny's. And over that month and a half, 2 months, I unloaded my house. We got down to the last 2 weeks. We lived on an air mattress, a fan, and a TV. We were camping in our house so we could move. John had stuff stored in our garage. The garage was the last thing to be packed. He wouldn't come pick it up. Well, a few days before we closed, we're asleep on the floor in our living room. We have fans going on us. And all of a sudden, at like 7 o'clock in the morning, we hear pop, pop. Everything turns off. I wake up. I'm like, Dave, I forgot to stop the turn off of the electric. Remember, we were supposed to close today. He's like, grab your clothes. And he's running around trying to grab his pants, run out and grab the electric company, turn back on our electric. Well, he's like, I can't wait for John to come pick up his stuff anymore. We're going to take it over there. So we get dressed, we go over there, and we're trying to call John. He won't answer. And right before we get there, he said, Melissa's leaving me again. Now they fought and broke up over 10 years, a lot. We stayed out of it. It's their lives, they're adults. We pull in, we can see her packing through the window. It comes out, hi. The kids come out and they're waving hi. And she's like, what are you doing here? I said, we got John's stuff. We're going to be closing soon. And I'm standing at the end of the car. She's like, told Dave to put it against the house. So he starts unloading it. Okay. And she said, well, when are you going to be closing? I said, in a couple of days. I said, I forgot we were supposed to close today. Dave starts giggling. He said, boy, was this morning a hot mess. I said, it was awful. I said, they turned off our electric at 7 and we're laying on that air mattress in front of the fan. I said, not like two naked people trying to run around, trying to grab clothes to run out and stop the electric company. He was giggling. He said, I haven't moved that fast in years. And he's laughing. Do you know they said that part of her reason to get even with me, she didn't think it was appropriate. I said the word naked. Well, she can kiss my naked fat ass. Naked, 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 naked. Miss Hottie Toddy that had all kinds of affairs on my son, didn't approve of me saying the word naked. She can kiss my ass. John told me about coming home one day, finding her in bed with another man, and him start beating on him. They got in a fist fight, and the guy pulled a gun on him, and John left. They broke up so many times, they cheated on each other so many times, it wasn't even funny. Misappropriate, the word naked, thinks she can grow out her hair and put a skirt on and it covers up everything she's done in the past. It don't. Or the time I had to talk her down when she threatened to start going around shooting people. And I told her not to say that kind of stuff. She'd be arrested. Or all the drunken parties she went to. I don't want to hear it. Word naked. People said, she said she was inappropriate when they were talking. And that's part of the reason they were getting even with her. And all she said was the word naked. Yeah. Right? Not alone. 2 minutes at the end of the car. Do you know when I seen him before that? Christmas with the Mikes. Her family was up from Florida. And they couldn't come over for Christmas. So they had said they wanted bikes. We took them over with great big name tags on them, homemade ones. Called, finally got a hold of them and said we could leave them in the house with the gift cards. Went back over on Christmas Eve of 17. And just to say hi to everyone. And they were having a buffet dinner. Asked them if they liked the bikes. They said, why would we thank you? Some other lady in the church bought him. Dave was already cheating on me. I said, what do you mean some other lady bought him? And they're making fun of Dave for having pot in his system, where he got caught with pot in his system right before the attempt to break in. They knew where the security system was. Him and his crazy girlfriend was already trying to kill me back then. Do you know when I seen them before that? We had met at Dairy Queen on Fulton Road, and they told us they wanted bikes for Christmas. We all had ice cream and sandwiches together, not alone. We're into 17. Do you know when I seen them before that? My 50th birthday. They were an hour late again. Melissa sat next to me and was nice to me. And not alone. Now we're into a year and a half in the past. The year before that, that's where Dave verified I hadn't even been alone with anyone and not around anybody for 5 to 6 minutes out of the whole year. See, that's where I was talking to him. I'd like to at least see somebody if they're going to say something bad about me. I had no idea. And where those people were coming out from the first month of the case, where that little old white man came out for every other word you telling us, I'll turn it on you. Try to leave Dave. I'll list you a child molester. He's like, you know that bruise on your leg? I used sodium pentothal on you. You know what you said to me? Do you know drugging somebody for a confession is pharmaceutical torture and it's 30 years. Might want to restate that one. And then made up this thing of wearing this one nightgown, bending over improperly, accidentally seeing your butt in the light of pain, and you try to leave Dave, and threatens me again. I got away from him. He did it in front of the police and the FBI. Then they were laughing where he had bruises before, throwing up, heart racing. It was, and in fact, it was us. It wasn't the well water. It was us. We had drugged you and told you to say this. We photoshopped all our lies, rah, 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 and laughing in my face how they framed me in front of the police and FBI. Okay? Now, October 23rd, 2019, where the FBI had called Melissa stupid for trying this in front of them. That they taped her saying she was lying. Oh, the kids say they taped the kids saying they were lying and her telling the kids lie. Okay? October 23rd, 2019, I'm at Brielle, my one granddaughter's birthday. I was talking, I said, do you know how mad I was when I heard the house wasn't meant for Grandma? It was meant for Auntie Shell and Papa, and Grandma needs to get out. Flora looked at me and went, that's not what they said. They said this. It was filthy. Where the police and the FBI came up and said that they'll make up something and call you a bad word. That's all they tell me. They knew I hadn't been around. They watched them and taped them. Her telling the kids to lie, and the kids stating that they were lying on Thanksgiving of 18. And sitting around laughing, making it up. And the people that work for the drug lord saying that she was willing to help them out, get away with this. That's how sick this is. Okay? Well, when Flora stated it, she's like, they said this. Josh went, ooh, don't say that again. It's not true. She said, of course it's not true. Of course it never happened. We made it up. They were games of pretend. Make up something, call you a bad word. And she laughing, sitting down next to me, going, laughing and chuckling. If she wouldn't have stated it, I would have never known. And if I was their mother, I would have spanked their butts. You don't lie like that. See, there's where I always tell you I had more respect for Melissa, that she was a better person than she did for herself. I thought Mark and Tina raised a better child. I thought she had more integrity than to ever be part of having somebody drug beat and raped. Hmm? More integrity than to have someone murdered or human trafficked. I thought Mark and Tina raised a better child than that. And for her to raise her children, to go along with this and be part of this, do you know the law states, and it comes down to this. Officer Mark, I know you had pity on her because her kids were small, because Melissa could go to jail for involving herself in this. I'd hate to arrest her. Her kids are little. Why don't we write it up that Melissa and those kids were just showing off for Dave and his new girlfriend? You should have arrested her. Need to now. It's one thing when you're being a bitch and a show-off, but the law states if you have your kids pretend something happened to them and they were harmed, and they weren't, it is you try to scare somebody out of something, or to extort money, or get them in trouble. It is extortion. It is a 20-year sentence, and it's under child abuse. She is mentally abusing those children. They're documented mean jokes. Nobody went to the hospital. There was no police report. There's no pictures of injuries. Because they're mean jokes that Melissa made up with the drug lords. Not the drug lords, but the guys that work with them. Florida Drug Cartel. Where Dixie was talking April 6/25 over at John's. Melissa said the group of people they hired to watch her before, that's a felony invasion of privacy. The chief of police up there gives special permission to people to break in people's homes. No, he don't. And watch them unaware. No, he don't. Those are federal crimes. Break in and do stuff like drug them for fake confession, beat and rape them, which to her made total sense because Dixie's a dingbat. Melissa said the group of people that hired to do that to her, she was part of hiring it, put her in jail. She thinks she can be a mafia bitch. Like I said, I thought her parents raised a better child. A better human being, but apparently not. She thinks she's mafia now. She thinks she's gonna, those two guys that work for the drug lord, Melissa said she'd help out in this. You're kidding, right? No, she's gonna have the kids make up stuff. Walmart 62 in front of the feds. She was working with the Florida Drug Cartel. Better choose your words more carefully. Why would she have an attorney for a plea deal? For all those people died? Maybe she ought to be charged with all their murders. And she needs to be she told them that she told Jen that she was part of those people, hiring those people to do those things to me. She helped sell kiddie porn to little kids going potty. I want you to start thinking that. What does she have an attorney for? Plea deal? Life in federal instead of execution? For all those murders that happened here in Ohio, where she was working with the Florida Drug Cartel under police surveillance? See, where you had pity on her, Officer Mark? She needs arrested. I heard somebody outside my clients last week. Melissa thinks she can set off a hate crime on somebody. Oh yeah, she thinks she's some kind of tough mafia bitch. That she can have somebody drug beat and raped on her own lives and help her church get away with murder. She needs to learn real quick what real law is. Nobody went to the hospital. There's no pictures of injuries. There's no police report. They were sitting around laughing, making it up. I was in Alliance last 2 months when the investigators were talking to an agent. I was there. I was sick. They were all sitting around laughing, making it up. I was in Myers in Alliance, where they keep selling the login. They sent out Thanksgiving of 18. Now, this is funny. Those kids said they made everything up. I know they did. Like Officer John, January 12th, 22, stopped men at the door, and I found out his name's not John. And he's not an officer. He's an FBI agent. What do those kids get taped stating? They made everything up. They're games to pretend. And they've been using society for the fools you are. If a child actually was assaulted, what would happen? You'd be arrested so quick, it wouldn't even be funny. Where Leah, Carl's friend, said that guy in your old apartment's running around telling everybody you hurt children. Police won't say a word to you. Hmm? Told people to yell stuff at you and to do things to you. I said, we'll put it this way. I actually called the FBI. The FBI. I called them on my ex-husband for threatening my life and for the attempts. They opened a real case. Statements, court order for police surveillance. They caught my daughter-in-law, friends with my ex's girlfriend at the time, telling the kids to lie. The kids in a legally bugged house in an FBI case, stating they wanted the house for that girlfriend and that they made everything up and they were games of pretend, laughing sick shit. And I told her about Flora laughing about it. A year later, chuckling, couldn't quit laughing. And that they called her out in Walmarts in different places, that they take those kids, saying they were lying. She said, is that why the police won't say a word? I said, yeah, they already taped them saying they were lying. And they have my whole family defending me, not knowing any of this, and these people admitting how they framed me. She started laughing. She said, is that what's going on? Absolutely. I could go apply at a daycare. The FBI would approve it. You know what they look at you and say? What would you be afraid of? Karen and buy too many cookies? Karen has a problem with feeding people. She brings people cookies and treats. The FBI had even told people Karen doesn't have it in her to hurt anybody. How many times, for we all know this woman is innocent. We all know. How many times have they told you they interviewed my whole family? They spoke highly of me. She's never hurt anyone. Nobody's ever seen anything. It was just some lady thought she could make money off of harming people. Do you know how not funny this is? And then idiot people going along with it. Now put a brain cell in your head. If something would actually got harmed or hurt, you'd be arrested so fast it wasn't even funny. Because it never happened. They're mean jokes. Documented mean jokes. That Melissa made up. My one client in 21, October 5th, 21, they were talking about her lying in front of him again. He said, who is that crazy Melissa? They all talk about lying everywhere we go. I said, the ex-daughter-in-law, friends with ex's girlfriend, had the kids make up some mean games of pretend in front of the police on Thanksgiving 18. He said, is she crazy? I said, yes, she is. So what do people do? They're so pathetic. So pathetic. So pathetic. Mean jokes, documented mean jokes. Even in 23, I was in North Canton on Walmart on a strip on a Sunday in the fall. Some guy's on the phone. Melissa promised some guy all kinds of money if he helped pay for the harassment. Well, too bad. Tell him he lost everything. It's his own fault for paying for it. We taped those kids saying they were lying years ago. Exactly. And what did they tape John saying? That no one could say anything bad about me. That's where, like a week or two ago, I was in Bob Evans. And one of their lies, that Bill from the Freemason, this is a whole scam from him. He has to be able to scam somebody getting the cartel. Which is really pathetic, Bill. Because they were just walking around the mall asking people to join them. They just had to be willing to give up everything and go off with them. And they wanted you to be able to pull off a scam. So you thought you could scam the FBI? Huh? Should have started small. Should have done a slip and fall thing. Think you scammed the FBI? Are you fucking kidding me? Think about who you thought you could scam. And they go around, John verified it for Will. Oh, I went off. Oh, hell no. He didn't verify nothing for that idiot. And he wouldn't help Melissa no matter what. She pulled a stunt on him hiding after their divorce, came in his house uninvited, unannounced. Basically breaking and entering. We just walked in his house and hid. Waited for him to come out of the bathroom, lunch screaming at him. And out of being startled, he shoved her. Because he didn't even know she was in the house. Now I got you. Had him arrested for domestic violence. Lost his kids for a year. Had to pay fines, bail himself out of jail, get an attorney, try to get his kids back. Called me up in, 19 or 20? Mom, I'm trying to get my kids back. He said, I need a reliable name to put on the court records to pick up Kenzie Carrington and Noah. I said, John, I work 2 jobs. I barely make it on my own. He said, but Mom, if you don't help me, I'll lose my kids forever. These are my kids. I said, John, I'll lose my apartment. I said, I barely make it on my own now. But they're my kids, Mom. I said, John, I'll lose my apartment. I barely make it now. I'm sorry I can't help you. He lost his kids. Moved to Florida about 4 or 5 years ago. Married to a beautiful woman. Looks happy. He was complaining that how many thousands and thousands of dollars he has to pay her in child support. Come sees him a couple times a year. Because of her bitch move, she's sole parent. Hell would freeze over, and he would tell you, if you help her, it'd be a slap in his face. After what she pulled. And so where that person in Bob Evans said something to me, I went off. And how hell would freeze over for he'd help her. I go over to Walmart 62, one of the investigators from the case. Walked in, I told that couple never to say a word to her. I interviewed John years ago. He said nothing ever bad happened to him. So did all my kids. They all spoke highly of me. And you know what my other grandkids said? She was the best grandma ever and the sweetest grandma ever. Dave used to laugh. Those little ones look at you with those big eyes, Karen, and say, Grandma, please. And you melt. You're only little ones. I didn't have a lot when I was growing up. And little trinkets mean things to small ones. So it's hard to say no. Especially if you have the money for it. Now, I want you to think about this. They interviewed my whole family, March 23rd, 23. Walmart 62, two FBI agents walk in. We told these people, stay out of this. We interviewed her whole family a long time ago. She's never hurt anyone. No one's ever seen anything. It was just some lady thought she could make money off of it. Now, where that investigator yelled out, I told that couple never to say a word to her. Again, I interviewed John years ago. He said nothing bad ever happened to him. See, it's just a bitch move. The whole thing's a bitch move. Up in Akron, they called it a mean teenage stunt that went too far. Breaking in, taping somebody in the shower, washing themselves, photoshopping that in the other room. Then I found out it wasn't even my body. They just put my head on somebody else's body. And roofing somebody and telling them to say something stupid, but they were beating, raping her, and it went too far. It's like a mean teenage stunt that went too far. Drugging somebody for a confession is pharmaceutical torture, and it's a 30-year sentence. You may want to think about put your name on it. And then there's a scam of a dirty doctor not being one of mine, works for them, and they lied. That's like 30 years for that doctor. And like the Tuscarora sheriffs, they told them, anybody shows up and says a word about her, you are to detain them. Call the FBI and an agent will come down and take care of it. They already know they're using a doctor that's not one of hers and works for them. And they may have stolen somebody else's medical records and put her name on it. And they already made fun of an FBI agent for falling for this, and they are going to take care of it. It's about time. Agent John, I'd like my money. I'd like to retire. We all know I got fast-growing cataracts on my eyes caused by the head injury, where my 12/21/18 bat stabbed in the neck, bashed in the head, being raped, and left for dead. I would like my money. I'm going to need surgery on my eyes. Last year they showed up a little thin hair cataract. They said, well, you're a little young for them, but hopefully they won't grow anymore. Well, they got so bad that I can't hardly see out. I couldn't see out of my glasses. They asked me if I had 2 eye injuries at the same time. And I said no, but I was hit in the back of the head and knocked out until I got a dent. I had my eyes changed drastically. I had to get glasses, and I had migraines for a couple years. And it just, I said my eyesight got a lot worse. They said the only thing that causes fast-growing cataracts is 2 eye injuries at one time. I Googled it, and it is caused by being hit in the back of the head. The eye pressure in your head from everything being sloshed forward shows up weeks, years later, months later, even years later. Fast-growing cataracts from the pressure being changed in your head, your eyes. But I could lose my sight. I was so horrified the other day. I went to pick up my glasses. They didn't do it right, and I couldn't see the board in front of me. And I had to hold back the tears because I couldn't see. Walk out, one of Dave's old girlfriends out there mocking me. He slept with so many women. That one girl needs to get over it. He used her and her dirty friends to help out. Where Della Noetti at Apostolic Church of Barberton, right before the case started, you think you're better than her dating all those women. We're at church, I'm all dressed up. I walk off, I'm so mad, I could just feel my blood boil. And he said that minister thinks it's funny parading all those women in front of you. I come back, I said, what is he talking about? He don't know what he's talking about, Karen. Yes, he did. He's supposed to date that girl. He's supposed to date Michelle. Anita and Pam were talking about Mary's niece was willing to kill somebody for the opportunity to date Dave and someone like him. And Dave was excited because he never had somebody willing to kill somebody to date him. I found out he actually was dating even Katie for a while. He was supposed to have been marrying some old, ugly woman that looks like my mother, Kathy. I heard he was dating this heavy-set, ugly girl, too. He went absolutely hairy-carry, cheating. Then I found out through the FBI that my whole marriage was a scam. Him and a girlfriend from before me scammed me into marrying him so he could get a job at my dad's factory. She'd have free insurance. And she was a woman run all the medical bills up in my name, and that's why half my medical records are hers. He kept saying some crazy lady stole my ID, and it's identity fraud. Here it's him and his girlfriend scamming me, and he had cheated on me my whole marriage. He didn't work all that overtime. He didn't do this, he didn't do that, and he's out cheating on me. So that girl saying how she slept with Dave and da-da-da-da and how he lied to her, then I want you to get over it because I want you to think about it. You're 18 years old. You're grown. He's a 60-year-old man at that time, bald, fat, 240 pounds. Waddles like a dog, and his teeth are crooked, and you slept with something that looked like that. That's your own damn fault. You need to get over how stupid you are. You're 18 sleeping with a 60-year-old bald man with crooked teeth, walk like a dog, and was fat. Huh? And you're willing to help kill his wife of 30 years. And he sat and filled your head full of lies while you and your dirty friends should help him. And he played you all like a fool that you are. You need to get over how much he fooled you, and you weren't the only one he was sleeping with. He would sleep with anything that moved. Realize it. I did. And and that he manipulated all you and your dirty friends to help him get away with attempted murder.